Hello, my dear future auditors. How are you? In this video, I am going to share some simple but very powerful tips and tricks that I usually share to my students in the CIA batches. Things that will help you avoid those silly mistakes and things that will help you clear the exam in one single shot. Let's go. All right, so let's start. Various tips that you need to keep in mind while you are sitting for the CIA exam. Here are the tips. Number one, do not rush through the question. It happens that because of the exam stress and because we have this stress that we have to answer a lot of questions, what we do is we tend to read the question very quickly. Avoid that. Do not read the question very quickly. Don't rush through the question. If you do so, you might miss out on the words like least likely, most likely, and words like this. All right. So do not rush through the questions. Number two, focus on what's really being asked. It happens that once we are reading the question very quickly, we actually miss out on the actual requirement of the question. Also, because audit questions can be framed in a manner by which, if you are not very careful with your reading and understanding of the question, you might infer something else than what was the actual requirement. All right. So, what is important here is that you focus on what is actually being asked. Focus on the requirement. Break down the questions. Number three, remember in the controls questions mean the questions where the situation says that, okay, you are doing this and this is the control that you tested. Now what do you think about the deficiency of the controls? Just make sure that you understand this. As a part of the controls question, segregation of duties is must. So the option which gives you the most comprehensive segregation of duties is your correct answer. All right. So what do we mean by segregation of duties? Just remember that ARC needs to be segregated. That means authorization, record keeping, and custody of the assets needs to be with different people out there. All right. Moving on. In case you find the questions a bit confusing, break the questions down. Don't panic. Break the question down into different parts. Read one sentence at a time. Think in your mind, reframe the question in your mind as to what the question is actually asking. All right. So if you find yourself to be in a situation where you're just confused as to the question, it's okay. Take a deep breath, read it again, break it down, sentence by sentence, and you'll get through it. Next, this is specifically for the people in my batches. I have a habit of giving exam related notes. Some could be my handwritten illustrations, some could be summarized PowerPoint slides. So those questions, and I'm specifically talking right now to the people of my batches, uh, what we have done in the session, each and every word that we have discussed through the scenarios, each and every word of the summary notes, each and every word of the illustrations that we have done is an exam related question. All right. And if you are someone who has never studied from me, it's absolutely fine. I am sure the other teachers also might be giving you some summary notes and illustrations, and I'm sure they are equally as important. All right. Do not skip the main material. Very important. Yes, you are being provided with my notes. Yes, you are being provided with extra things, but the main material is very, very important. My notes are to aid your preparation and not as a substitute of the main material. Let's please understand that. All right. Then, yes, my favorite. Practice, practice, practice. You have to practice a lot of multiple choice questions. You have to train your mind to think in specific situations, guys. That is very important. If you think that just by reading the manual and not practicing the questions, you can you can clear the exam, I am really sorry. That is not going to happen. This is a professional exam. You might be faced with a lot of different scenarios which might require your mind to think in a particular direction. So, practicing the multiple choice questions is indispensable. You have to practice a lot of multiple choice questions. And yes, just practicing would not suffice. You have to practice in a time simulated environment. What does that mean? That means when today I open the first module, I open the multiple choice questions, I have to time myself. All right. Have that clock ticking. Time yourself. Right. And that is why, that is how your mind would know how to think fast, because your mind has to learn that, yes, there is a time clock ticking. So I have to learn fast. I have to read fast. I have to understand fast. I have to read the situations fast. And I have to infer from the situations fast. And I have to reach the correct answer fast. All right. So practice, 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 and time your practice. All right. Then keep an error log. What is an error log? Error log is nothing but a log of the mistakes that you make. Suppose you arrived at an incorrect answer. All right. Suppose you arrived at an incorrect answer. Now, you read the correct answer, you understand, okay, why is this fine? And then you move on. Versus you understand why you went wrong. You keep a note of, "Hey, this is the area where I went wrong," right? And you read it regularly. Now that would avoid it happening again, right? So keep an error log, review it regularly, and you will notice your errors to shrink. All right. Moving on. Elimination. Now, Ayush, what is elimination? Elimination is an approach whereby you arrive at the correct answer. How? Simple. By eliminating the incorrect answers. So, if you are directly not being able to arrive at the correct answer, right? Start eliminating the answers which you think is incorrect. And finally, you will notice that you are left with an answer. And that answer would most likely be the right one. Manage time and stay calm. Very important. Time management, as I was explaining, time simulated environment, very, very important. Also, guys, uh, we might be there in the exam hall. We might be sitting in front of that exam, and we might be faced with a complicated question, and we might start panicking. I would recommend not to panic. It's absolutely fine. On that screen, on that computer screen, on that exam software, you have an option to mark a question as flag. You have an option to flag a question. What does that mean? That means if you think that you are not able to arrive at the right answer, and if you think that you are taking a lot of time to answer the question, you can just choose any answer and just mark it as flag. While you are submitting your exam, it will ask you to clear all the flags. That's when you revisit those questions. But there is a word of caution here. Don't keep marking all the questions as flag. Don't keep marking 30 questions as flag, right? Only the questions where you think you are unable to get to the right answer, or you think that you will need a considerable amount of time to answer that question. All right, that is it. Good luck. You've got this.